Can you guess where I shot this? If you guessed Theta Pond, you're exactly right. This is the third photo now that I've featured here in Weekly 50 that was shot at Theta Pond. Why? Because it's just an interesting place for pictures. It seems like there's always something. If you have your eyes open, you could find something, even if it's a familiar subject. Like a couple weeks ago, I had a picture of a duck. Well, it's not exactly the fanciest subject in the world, but you know, there's still ways to make an interesting photo of a familiar subject. And that's what I did here. I actually intended to take a photo kind of like this when I set out. It's always fun to take pictures of these cypress tree seeds. No, not cypress. There are other cypress trees at Theta Pond. This is a magnolia tree seed. And I have been enjoying shooting pictures of magnolia seeds for a really long time. You can go way back to the earliest days of Weekly 50 and probably find some photos of magnolia seeds. And I feel like every year, yeah, I kind of shoot the same type of picture, one seed with a relatively wide aperture in different lighting conditions. This isn't going to break it's not going to win points for originality, but it's just fun to take these types of pictures and to find interesting ways of composing a shot that might otherwise be kind of similar to other pictures that I've taken. And that's what I got here. I forget the aperture I used. I think it was 2.8. I want it to be large, but not so large that it was out of focus. And that's one of the tricky parts. On a photo like this, your depth of field is so shallow with a wide aperture that it's hard to decide, do you want the browns in focus or the reds in focus? What do you want in focus? And there's not a lot of room to get both in focus if you have a really wide aperture. So I'm pretty sure I used a 2.8 aperture. And there was something intentional that I did on this one, which was, if you notice on the left, you have this arc that goes from the top middle and arcs around left to the bottom, I guess about the 7 o'clock position if this were a clock dial. And that's an arc of white balls of light, and that was intentional. I really did compose this shot to have the seed framed on the left by that sparkle of light. And I did that by looking at where the light was coming from through the trees and even using live view to compose this shot. What I didn't plan on, though, was that leaf on the bottom left. And I really went back and forth on that. I don't like how it's intruding on the picture, or at least I didn't like how it's intruding on the picture. And I tried cropping it out, but then you lost a lot of that arc. So I tried, I wanted to see if I could Photoshop it out. That didn't work. I mean, maybe someone who's much more talented at Photoshop could do it. So I just left it. And at first I was kind of bummed about it. I don't like that leaf in there. But then I've actually grown to appreciate it, because having the 3 green leaves, the one on the bottom left, the one on the top, well, it's on the right-hand side on the top, and then the right-hand side at the bottom, those 3 leaves give a sense of like coziness to this photo. And I realized when I cropped that leaf out on the bottom left, yes, I lost some of the background, the sparkles in the background, but I was left with a photo that felt more free and open on the left, and it had a different mood. And if you want to try for yourself, download the original. Just click on the picture and go to the link on Flickr, and you can download the original and just crop that out. And you'll see what I mean. It just has a different feel with that leaf missing on the left-hand side. So even though I wasn't super happy with it at first, I've actually come to really appreciate it. And I think it teaches me something about not just framing my subject with the foreground and background, but what other elements can I use to frame my subject, and how do those elements affect the mood of the photo? And it really did have an interesting effect that I didn't intend. Side note, I also like the blues in the background. I'm not sure what is causing those. It's not artificial. That's not me doing something in Lightroom. It's the blue reflecting off of something, maybe the edge of a leaf. I'm not sure, but I like the way all the colors stand out from each other in this picture. It's a really contrasty picture, kind of the opposite of the picture, was it last week or the week before, it was all green with a little brown streak. This is super bright, super contrasty, and I really like it.